Once again, it's a privilege to be welcomed into your homes. Today's reflection is on the two gospel readings of the solemnity of the Passion of the Lord. Matthew chapter 21, verse 1 to 11, and Matthew chapter 26, from 14 to chapter 27, 66. This is the only Sunday in the year when we have two gospels, one at the beginning of Mass and the other in its usual place. There is a contrast between the two Gospels. One is a story of welcome, and the other is a story of rejection. When Jesus entered the city of Jerusalem at the beginning of the week, he is welcomed by great crowds of people. A few days later, according to Matthew, all of the people, pressured by their religious leaders, call on Pilate to have Jesus crucified. Even though they are two very different stories, Matthew makes a subtle connection between the two. According to our first gospel reading, when Jesus entered Jerusalem, the whole city was in turmoil. Literally, the whole city shook. At the moment Jesus died, according to Matthew, the earth shook. Both the entry of Jesus into Jerusalem and the passion and death of Jesus are events which shake us out of our usual posture. According to the first gospel reading, when Jesus entered Jerusalem and the whole city shook, people asked the question, who is this? The earth-shattering nature of Jesus' entry into Jerusalem and of Jesus' death on the cross invite us to ask, who is this? When Jesus died and the earth shook, this question received an answer from an unexpected quarter. Seeing the earth quake and all that had taken place, the Roman, the centurion, and the soldiers who were with him said, in truth, this was God's Son. Their confession is also our confession. This group of pagans, according to Matthew, recognized God's presence in the death of Jesus. They echo the group of pagans at the beginning of Matthew's Gospel, the Magi from the East, who worship the infant Jesus of the Jews. We are all invited to listen to the story of Jesus' passion and death this Holy Week, not just as the story of all the worst instincts of humanity, but more fundamentally as a story of God's presence, of God's love, embodied in the person of Jesus. At the beginning of Matthew's Gospel, the child Jesus was given the name Emmanuel, God with us. It is above all in the hour of his passion and death that Jesus shows himself to be God with us, especially in our darkest moments. Dear friends, it is on the cross that Jesus reveals most powerfully God's loving presence in our midst. That is why we continue to proclaim this story as good news, the good news of a divine love that is stronger than sin, of a divine life that is stronger than death. Paul captures the deeper meaning of this seemingly tragic story in his letter to the church in Rome. God proves his love for us in that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Romans chapter 5, verse 8. Shalom. Peace.